So as you know, with this lockdown, finding places to meet people is more difficult than ever. Most bars are closed. In a lot of cities, your campus might be closed. Malls are, a lot of them are dead, not very busy, and it's getting cold, so in a lot of cities, people aren't even going outdoors. Options are more limited than ever before, which can understandably be frustrating. And the short answer is the best option if you want to meet women in the United States during this pandemic, if you're like, well, let's say you already got corona and you don't have to worry about it, or you think it's not something that you're overly concerned about personally, then the best option is Las Vegas. Easily Las Vegas. Going there for a weekend is cheaper than ever. You can book a hotel on the Strip for $250 for 3 nights, and like one that's perfectly located where all the people are. Planes are across the country like $100 right now, cheaper than ever. And so anyone who has any means whatsoever, your best option is really just on the weekend, take a flight to Vegas. Go to Vegas for the weekend, get a hotel, and meet girls while you're there. I was there a month for a immersion coaching program, which is where I stay with one person for an entire month and go out with them. And even on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's girls, tourists, who are there just hanging out, hoping to have some fun, hoping to go on some kind of adventure and have something exciting happen. And as you know, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. The whole idea of Las Vegas is that it's a place that's great for having one-night stands or, doing things that are more adventurous than you would normally do. So, easily, of all the research I've done, Las Vegas is the best place right now. The clubs are closed, the clubs aren't open, but the Strip itself is like a giant bar because you're allowed to drink there, and there's tourists. I'll show some B-roll footage by the thousands. And obviously, if you're super concerned about getting the virus, or you live with your grandma or something like that, you might want to avoid it. But if that's not the case for you, then easily it's the place with the most options. That's why I've been doing my boot camps, my weekend boot camps, where I take someone out and basically show them how to approach women in person. Like, I show you personally how to approach women in a way that is attractive, in a way that gets you dates. My most recent client, he was a guy who is 5'5", so shorter than average, and he pulled a 6'1" model and brought her home to his hotel, and they hooked up. That's the kind of thing that often happens on my boot camps, because the reality is, for most guys, in order to start getting results with women, there's only a few small things you need to do differently. For example, a lot of guys, they approach too meekly. When they talk to a girl, they just don't show their intentions and nothing happens. And on the boot camp, I can show you how to have strong intent, how to get a strong emotional reaction, and to make her feel like, well, either I'm not interested in this guy, so okay, it was nice meeting you, or damn, this guy is intriguing, this guy isn't bullshitting, this guy is clear in his intentions, this guy knows what he wants and he's willing to go for it, so let's see what happens. Girls are going to do one of those two things, and you're going to see that just making little adjustments, like showing strong intent or learning how to leave space for the girls to invest, because some guys are just too pushy. They're always pushing. These small adjustments that I can help you make on a boot camp will drastically increase your results, because the majority of guys are making one or two fundamental mistakes that are holding them back from getting results. Or a lot of guys, they're just not approaching women or haven't approached women. They haven't thrown themselves out there. They have approach anxiety, they have resistance, they have whatever reason they haven't been doing it. And going in a boot camp is a great way to throw yourself into a situation where it's actually more embarrassing not to approach, because I'm there, you paid money, you've made this investment, you've gone on a trip, you've traveled. To not do the approaches is probably going to feel stupider than doing the approaches at that point, even if you have crippling approach anxiety. I'd say 95% of guys who take boot camps with me immediately are able to approach, even if they haven't done it in years. So taking a boot camp is a great way to accelerate your learning curve, to basically get past this initial phase of overly analyzing or of making the same mistake again and again and getting frustrated. It's not a magic pill that immediately takes you from 0 to 10, but it will help you skip a lot of the most frustrating steps, the beginning stages where you feel like you're beating your head against the wall. If you're wondering how much does a boot camp cost, it's $1,500 for 12 hours, 3 days. So usually it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 hours each day of in-person coaching with me. Then I'll also get footage of you, so long as you're comfortable with that, of your approaches, so we can break them down afterwards and you can see the mistakes you're making when you approach women through a third-person perspective. And you can see a lot of girls actually liked you. So even if you have these limiting beliefs that I'm just not attractive enough, all the girls are, rejecting me, none of them want me, you're going to see with your own two eyes that a lot of girls do like you, that a lot of girls are attracted to you. And seeing that footage is a transformative moment for a lot of guys. So a 3-day boot camp is $1,500. You can learn more about it by clicking the link below. But that's enough about that. In general, if you want to go meet women now, yeah, the best option is go to Las Vegas. Whether or not it's on a boot camp, that's the best option. And if that's not realistic for you, your second best option is to use this as a time to build up your online dating profile and to build up your Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, your online social media presence, because that can act as a funnel that will bring more women and just interesting people in general into your life. If you build a good Instagram profile with a good following, that's going to create a lot of opportunities for you, and you can use that as a tool for meeting women, even if in your city that's not an option right now. So if you do want to take Tinder seriously, I would recommend checking out the channel Playing with Fire. That's the most practical channel that has a lot of easy to implement and good advice that I would personally recommend. I don't get a kickback for recommending people to them or anything, but I genuinely think it's a good channel, and I like that he's willing to admit his mistakes. And he had an opener on Tinder that wasn't very effective, and he tested it, found out, okay, it's not the most effective, and found out what was better. So he's willing to admit his own mistakes, grow from those mistakes, whereas a lot of people, their egos are too big. A lot of coaches, their egos are too big for that. So I would highly recommend checking that out. In general, the most important thing is getting good photos, so pay $150, $200 to get a professional photo shoot. If you want to do well on Tinder or Bumble or any of those apps, you really need to do that. Or at the very least, take a lot of photos with your smartphone until you get some that are genuinely good. But the easier route, the more efficient route is just pay for a photographer, get some good professional photos, and from there, everything else will be much easier. Most guys have crappy photos on Tinder. Even photos that you think are good might actually be absolute garbage. You can get them ranked on a website called Photo Feeler, where actual women will rate your photos on attractiveness, so you'll get a very unbiased and a good idea of how good your photos genuinely are. I actually learned using Photo Feeler that one of my best photos, or the pictures I thought was the best photo of me, it got like a 5 out of 10, and some other pictures that I thought weren't very good got above an 8 out of 10. So Photo Feeler can be very illuminating. So those are your two best options. Either go to Vegas, maybe even take a boot camp with me, and then you can meet a lot of women in person. Your city, look, it may be okay, it may be decent. Maybe there's malls, maybe there's parks where you can get some approaches in, and that's great. But in terms of what is the best possible option right now, Las Vegas in America is by far the best. And other than that, if you can't do that, then work on your dating profile, work on your Instagram, check out Playing with Fire to get more advice on that. I'm not an expert on online dating. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on something I haven't put the hours in. So I'm going to send you to someone who genuinely is an expert and has put in the time. Those would be my top 2 recommendations. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button.